Hey YouTube. So I wanted to set up my own VPN between my home network and Windows Azure. So as you can see here, right now I'm logged into my portal and you see we got some green lights going, which means I was finally successful doing this. So in my attempt of doing this, I noticed that there were really no good videos or exact documentations outlining every single configuration option there is. So that's why I'm making this video. If someone out there may have a SonicWall-TZ series, then this video just may help you. Before I actually bought a router firewall that was capable of a site-to-site VPN, I pretty much went to Microsoft first and see if they had a compatibility list, and going through here I took various ones and pretty much priced it out. I've heard of Dell SonicWall before. I looked up the TZ series from Newegg and it was, fairly reasonable for what I was getting and was on the compatibility list. I really couldn't ask for anything more, something guaranteed to work, right? Logged into my SonicWall security appliance, which is the TZ105 wireless-N. This unit cost me about $300. I think typically it's about $450, but I guess Newegg had a special that day. As far as the specs here, it doesn't look too beefy, but it's been working pretty good so far. Navigating to the VPN container, it's going to take us to the settings where we can see we have green lights. Now, I've seen this green light go off, and typically when it turns off, I don't get any of these maximum policies allowed items here, and I definitely don't get this item down here. So looking at this interface, this is pretty much a really easy way to see whether or not you're up or down with the VPN. So clicking into this specific VPN, let's take a quick look at some of the settings. Now that you've seen this configuration, I'm going to tell you I started this specific object under the VPN's settings stuff through using the wizard up in the top right corner, this button for wizards. I created this through the use of the wizard. Now my VPN did not work after the initial run with the wizard. I had to come back into this configuration page and adjust some of these values. Right now I've opened up the wizard and noticed that the VPN wizard is selected. And going through next, right now we're going to create the site-to-site VPN. And now we got to name it. I'm just going to put some value in there, just so we can move on and see what's expected of us in the forward pages. And we definitely need to know our interfaces for this. Now this was one of the objects that we actually created through the wizard. And obviously it already knows that I have this. I'd have to create a new address object. So canceling out of that, let's take a look at the Azure network address object. If we navigate into network, address objects, and down at the bottom we have the Azure network address object, and notice the addressing scheme that I'm using. And just to take a quick look on the inside, here's our name, zone assignments, types, and of course the network and the mask, pretty much covering everything with that. go back into the VPN settings, and notice we still have the green light. And going back into our VPN settings, in the proposal tab, some of these options were not correct and the VPN was not functioning. So what I did was, in my Windows Azure portal, coming into this location, I downloaded the VPN device script. Now, they didn't really have a script for my SonicWall, but I was able to take some of the values, and when I say values, I mean these settings within the proposal tab, and I just matched them up from what was in that script to exactly what was available to me within this interface. And one other thing I strictly remember that the wizard did not configure for me was the default LAN gateway. It did not put this value in here, and even though I had a green light, no traffic was being passed to any subnets that I had created in Windows Azure. And just for demonstration purposes, here's my IP address. And notice that we are in a 72 subnet, and here is our gateway, which matches up to our default gateway in our VPN policy. So now let's take a quick look in the Windows Azure and let's see how I set up my subnets. And right now I already have 2 virtual servers that are within my DMZ subnet. And notice that I am passing traffic, and here's my gateway. And let's go to our configure tab, and we're going to have to, if we scroll down, we can start to see here. First of all, here's the address space, and this is pretty much what I'm most concerned with because everything has to do with our subnets. We put our virtual machines per subnets, our load balancers, our availability sets. So as you can see right now, I've created the DMZ, the production, and the production 2 subnet. I can use these 3 subnets for all of my resources. I didn't really pick these names. They were actually derived from another network, so I'm just rehashing them just for understanding purposes. But you could also take away the IP addressing scheme. This is working. I can pass traffic between all of these subnets, and I can also restrict traffic from either or all of these subnets. Notice that this is a site-to-site connectivity. And moving on to certificates, don't remember anything here. And back to our dashboard, whenever my VPN went down, this color right here would update almost immediately to yellow, and then I would get a little message saying trying to connect. Now if you've ever used the new portal system, which I gotta tell you, I love this interface. It's completely out of this world awesome. But if we navigate to the browse, what I'm gonna call a charm, we can navigate to the My Cloud. Now we're looking at the same thing between this interface and this interface, but I just wanted to point out, if you look at the network settings within the new portal, when my VPN went down, I always got green. I always had the green status light, and it just never really reflected that I had lost my connectivity. And again, here are our subnets. Alright, I'm pretty much done with this video. I hope someone out there with the SonicWall will find some use to this, because my VPN has been working pretty steadily now for almost a month or more so.